exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
I like a good serial killer documentary. He hasn't taken the pounding that wide receivers take.
It's just a pound job, and guys are tired towards that for a minute.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
I would be lying to you if I said I had not heard things. They're like a bad rash. You hear a lot of things. Some are true, some aren't.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Oh, yeah. Week 5. Week 5 of the National Football League. 15 minutes away. The Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in a game that actually should be pretty good, right? NFC South, an improved division this year. But Week 5 of the NFL kicks off in a couple of moments. We will keep you updated tonight. Falcons and the Buccaneers. Thursday night, primetime NFL football. And with that, a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. I'm the Hacker, Ryan Green. You are the city of Jacksonville, and we certainly appreciate you spending part of your Thursday evening with us. Week 5 of the NFL will also be a big deal here in Jacksonville as Tom Coughlin goes into the pride of the Jaguars. The Jaguars will be wearing their throwback uniforms, and the Jaguars will look to get their first win of 2024 as they welcome in the Indianapolis Colts, a Colts organization that has not won a game in Jacksonville since September of 2014. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Obviously, a lot of Jaguars, a lot of Colts. We'll talk with Eric Edholm, NFL.com, about the Jags, the AFC South, and a little bit on Brian Thomas Jr. That comes up around 9:15. You'll also have former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts will join the program as he does every week during the NFL season. In fact, we'll kick things off with Cecil here coming up in less than 15 minutes, former wide receiver for your Jacksonville Jaguars. And later on in the 8 o'clock hour, my buddy Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You read him at the USA Today as we will preview Week 6 in the world of college football. All that plus Little Hack will stop by to make his weekly picks. We got a lot to do. As always, we're glad you are with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, when last Sunday ended and the Jaguars had lost just an absolute heartbreaker again to the Houston Texans, you had to wonder, right? I mean, what are we doing? 0-4, only winless team in the NFL. 3 of the games you lost literally in the last minute of play. This week has been rough, right? This week has sucked. A lot of questioning about Doug Peterson and the play calling. A lot of questioning about Trevor Lawrence and his regression. There's a lot to question, a lot of problems. But what's that old saying? It just takes one, right? Just give me one. I don't need 5, 6, or 7, or 8. I need one. One win. One win that'll make you feel better about things. One win that could potentially turn things around, calm the waters, whatever verbiage you want to use. And I got to tell you, pretty much since Monday, into Tuesday, into Wednesday, and again today, I think Jacksonville is going to win the game on Sunday. And I haven't picked them in 3 of the 4 games this year. I picked them to lose Miami, Buffalo, and Houston. So by no means have I been ultra positive Jaguar guy. I've picked them to lose 3 of their 4. But I do think they're going to win on Sunday. Indianapolis is banged up. I don't think Indianapolis is particularly very good. They've won their last two, but I don't think they've looked good doing it. They're coming on the road, Jacksonville, with the throwback unis, Coughlin going into the Pride. There's a lot to play for. I think Jacksonville wins the game. Now, am I predicting a 6, 7, 8 game winning streak? No, I'm not. Not at all. But just give me one. Let's start with one. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will get one on Sunday, as I believe they will get their first one of the year, their first victory of the year, and they will defeat the Indianapolis Colts, which would be a good win, right? A division win. And you got to take baby steps, right? It's all about baby steps when you're 0-4. If you beat Indianapolis, which I think they will, that drops Indy to 2-3. You're 1-4. Next week, Indy plays at Tennessee. One of those teams is going to lose, right? Barring a tie, of course, but you would expect one of them to lose. The loser of Colts-Titans will then have 4 losses as well. That's what we got to do. We got to build small things. We're not going to win 10, 11, 12 in a row overnight and get the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's going to take baby steps at this point, as juvenile and elementary as possible. Beat Indy, go to London, play a rookie quarterback, knowing Indy has to go to Tennessee next week, and by next Sunday, potentially, 10 days from now, potentially, you'll be out of last place in the AFC South. If you take care of business against Indy, and if you beat the rookie Caleb Williams in Chicago and London. That's what it'll take. Plausible, yes. Achievable, yes. Certainly, I'm not taking a giant leap in saying they can beat Indy and Chicago. It's about baby steps at this point. So give me the Jaguars over the Colts. As far as the college game, give me Georgia over Auburn. Not breaking any news there. Miami's got a hairy one against Cal. I don't like that's like 3,000 miles Miami has to travel. I assume they probably left today. I can't imagine them leaving tomorrow. They're better than Cal. They should beat Cal, but man, that's a 10:30 at night kick. I don't care how adjusted to West Coast time you are. Your body's on East Coast time. You're on a plane for 3,000 miles as a college athlete. That's tough. I think Miami wins by a hair. They win a close one against Cal on Saturday night. And then that brings me to Florida State, Clemson, and Florida UCF. First to Tallahassee. How can you pick Florida State? I mean, you can't. You can be the most diehard, garnet and gold-bled, just passionate Florida State fan alive. And I don't know how you pick them to win. The unknown with Brock Glenn. The fact you're coming off a 26-point demolishing at the hands of SMU. And you're playing one of the hottest teams, not only in the ACC, but in the country, in Clemson. Clemson got embarrassed by Georgia, but since then, they have been hurting people. From App State to North Carolina State to Stanford, Clemson has been hurting people. So give me Clemson. I don't know if Clemson blows Florida State out. It is at night at Doak Campbell. Whatever that means at 1-4, I don't think it'll be the most electric environment imaginable at Doak Campbell, but it is still Saturday night in Tallahassee, which should help Florida State a little bit. But again, how can you pick them to win? You can't, if you want to be objective about it. So give me Clemson. And then finally, Florida and UCF. I was really off-put by UCF last week. They were 3-0. They were feeling pretty good. They were ranked. And Coach Prime in Colorado came in and pushed them around, man. Just absolutely pushed them around. Now, is that a wake-up call for UCF? Are they going to play angry? Yeah, probably. And then Florida's had 2 weeks off since beating Mississippi State. Florida's at home. Look, the bottom line is this. At some point, you would expect Florida to play well at home. They were awful against Miami. They were awful against Texas A&M. I'm not counting Samford. Say what you will about Billy Napier. Prior to this year, the Gators were at least good at home. They've been awful in the swamp so far this season. Law of averages again, right? At some point, they're going to play a good game at home. Why not Saturday against UCF? So I'll take Florida to win. I don't think it'll be pretty. But I think ultimately they will have more points on the scoreboard at the end of the game than UCF will. And they better, because they go to Neyland next week, and that's going to get ugly in Knoxville. But we'll deal with that next week. This week, it's all about UCF. Should be a fun game. SEC Network, 7:45. Should be a lively crowd. Probably a lot of UCF fans there as well. I think it'll be tight, but give me Florida because, again, they have to, you would think, at some point, put it all together in front of the home crowd, and I believe that'll happen on Saturday. So give me the Jaguars, give me the Gators, give me the Hurricanes, give me the Dogs, and give me Clemson to knock off Florida State. 641-1010. Text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your thoughts always welcome right here on a Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Coming up next, let's get into the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get into the Indianapolis Colts. Let's talk Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson, Brian Thomas Jr., all points in between with my buddy Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver. Here in Jacksonville, you get Cecil every week right here on Hacker After Dark, and he joins me next. It's a Thursday. It's Duval County. It's Hacker After Dark. And we're glad you're with us right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Make Friday feel like the weekend.
We're wasting time.
That's why we give you Pre-Game Friday.
Let's do it. Come on.
We'll get you ready for the games. Brought to you by Dream Finders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and MyBookie on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. 100 pounds. Boy, it sounds odd to say that. I've lost 100 pounds on the Awaken 180 weight loss program. The best weight loss program I've ever been on. From 317 pounds on February the 20th to 217 pounds here at the beginning of October. They have changed my life. They have saved my life, and I don't say that lightly. 100 pounds of weight loss. The coaching I get, the motivation I get, the guidance I get, it has been absolutely incredible. If you need to lose 100 pounds, if you need to lose 20 pounds, any point in the middle, go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com. They can change your life. I know this because they've changed mine. You could be next. Awaken 180 weight loss.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Duck Rooter provides plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services across the First Coast. We have the ability to travel straight to you when you need it most. We have our community covered. Duck Rooter technicians are your neighbors, friends, and family. We know you best. Understand what sets us apart from the rest. When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and Learn more at Chic and STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Hume Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Hume Flowers.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 3rd, 1976, future Baseball Hall of Fame right fielder Hank Aaron plated a run on his final MLB swing, driving in his 2,297th run.
Our most popular meat combo is ready to grill this season. Pounds and pounds of marinated steak tips and chicken, fresh ground beef, and homemade sausage. Just ask for the sampler combo.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Guys, don't suffer through this season with prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations with advanced urological care to improve your health and vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
Looking for a new or used firearm? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
Family owned and managed for 20 years, Hidden Hills Golf Club boasts a unique and welcoming golfing atmosphere. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to book your next round on our Arnold Palmer signature course. You'll be glad you did.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
C-E-R-O-R-E-C, Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Colts, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Tom Coughlin going into the pride of the Jaguars. The Jaguars wearing their throwback unis back to the mid to late 90s. And they're looking to get their first win of the year as they currently sit as the only winless team in the National Football League. Let's go to a man that played 7 years in the NFL, 4 of which right here in Jacksonville. That's my buddy, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Cecil, how you doing, man?
RG, I'm good, man. I'm good. How about yourself?
We're good. We're as good as we can be with an 0-4 football team. Cecil, you and I talked pretty regularly this offseason, man. Look, did I think the Jaguars were going to win the Super Bowl? No. But I thought, 9, 10 wins was not preposterous. I got to be honest, man. I'm stunned by an 0-4 start. What's been your reaction?
I'm stunned as well. Did not see this coming at all. I expected a competitive team. I expected a team that's going to be fighting to make the playoffs, fighting to win the division. But I did not see a 0-4 start. I did not see them not playing well. I didn't see Trevor Lawrence not playing well. I didn't see the offense. I didn't foresee this at all, and it's very disappointing. I love Doug Peterson. I think he's a heck of a coach, but for whatever the reason, it's hard for him right now to figure out how to galvanize the troops and get these guys playing well consistently. You see different spurts throughout the game, but as a whole, they're just not playing well enough to win football games in this NFL this season, and it's disappointing so far. A lot of season left, but it's hard, man. We start off 0-4 to do anything positive moving forward.
You know, there's a lot of avenues I want to talk about with you, but first and foremost, they are 0-4. You are what your record says you are. Correct. Having said that, my goodness, Cecil, 3 of those games could have gone either way in the last 60 seconds. I mean, what do you think the level of frustration is losing all these heartbreakers at the end?
Oh, man. It got to be at a high. You know, you had Miami up until you fumbled on the goal line, and then things kind of just went downhill from there. I tell you what, you had Sunday. If you figure out how to run a 4-minute drill, it's 3:51 left in the game. You force the Texans to punt, and you have the ball, and you go 3 and out. You go run, pass. Like I'm not sure about that sequence, but when you have the ball with 3 minutes and 51 seconds, you should end the game. You should be good enough as an offense to end the game. Heck, you got. I know Travis Etienne was banged up, but you got Tank Bigsby, you got Trevor Lawrence, you got all this money too. You got playmakers everywhere. Why the heck can't you get a first down? You get two first downs, you run that clock, you move the ball, you have a chance. You probably win the game. You probably get a win, and that's a huge win. That's a division win. That's a win against a team that's supposed to be make a deep playoff run as a confidence booster. But what's happening now is when you lose those tough games, when you lose those tight games, when you're 0-4, as a team, you lose confidence. And coming into the game, I was talking to Bucky Brooks on my podcast, Believe in Texans, getting ready for the preview of the game. And he's like, hey, this is not a very confident team. This is not a very confident team right now. They're looking, if the Texans can get up on them early, they'll possibly fold. But guess what? You were in the game throughout the time, all the way through the fourth quarter, having momentum in the fourth quarter. I mean, how many 3rd and 18s, 3rd and 15s, 2nd and 15s did you force the Texans to get into, yet you still find a way not to win that game? That's frustrating. Like, that is extremely frustrating as a player, as a coach. You're trying to put these guys in the best situation to succeed, and it's just not working. So the frustration level has to be at an all-time high, especially when these games are within reach. That's why, to me, the season's not over yet. There's a lot of season left. But when a team loses its confidence and they start to question themselves or the coaching, it gets tough to win games.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Cecil, you played wide receiver in the National Football League for a number of years. You're the perfect person to ask, what's wrong with Trevor Lawrence?
You know what, man? I love how they started the game on Sunday with quick game. I wish they would have continued that a little bit more. But he has to. I think he's in his own head, honestly. I think it's all mental. You can't miss Christian Kirk in the third quarter when he's blowing by Jalen Petrie or Eric Murray, and that would have been a touchdown on the right side of the field on the Jaguars sideline. You can't miss Brian Thomas Jr. first quarter of the game, left side of the end zone. You can't. He's wide open in the end zone. You can't miss stuff like that. That stuff that $155, $160 quarterbacks. That's the throws they make. That's the throws that they live on. They make the easy throws look easy, and then make the hard throws look like it's not a big deal. And he is struggling down the field with his accuracy. So I truly think he needs to go back to the basics, go back to his technique, his fundamentals, and figure out why he is inaccurate down the field. Because that should have been 2 touchdowns on top of the 2 he had already. So that's frustrating to see. And I kind of honestly feel bad for the kid, because he comes in with all this hype, all this glory, all this. He's the next second coming of Jesus. And if we're honest, we've seen spurts of it, but we haven't seen it consistently, right? We've seen spurts of greatness, but we haven't seen it consistently. So it's to me, go back to the details, go back to the fundamentals, figure out your technique, figure out your fundamentals. Why are you missing the throws? He has to find a different move. To me, it's one of the things is every time pressure comes, he does the same move, like spin to the right out of it. Like you have to figure out how to move up in the pocket. This is the basics, right? Move up in the pocket, find the lane. If you're going to run forward. Let's not run backwards. Let's not always run to your right unless it's like a boot. But he consistently, especially in this last game, he'll spin out to his right side. And like teams are going to catch on that. So you have to be able to extend plays in a way that's uncharacteristic of yourself, right? You got to get out of your habits. So you get back to the basics, in my opinion, man, from throwing technique to going through his reads, to simply just having pocket awareness when the pressure comes, right? Having answers when pressure comes. It's a lot of things that you don't want to talk about when it comes to your quarterback that you just paid a lot of money to. But for him to get better, I'll tell you honestly, he needs to get better for this team to win.
Couple of more for former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, Doug Peterson, there was a national report that came out that he had lost the locker room. Players were asked about that yesterday. They refuted that, saying that's ridiculous. A couple were even aggravated that came up because they said it was essentially preposterous. I'm just not quoting them, but that's essentially the vibe that we got by listening to their comments. The whole idea of a coach losing a locker room, Cecil, how would you even be able to know that? Because to me, and I brought this up last night, they've been in 3 of those 4 games. They've battled till the very end. I mean, the effort to me is not the problem. The execution is the problem, but they obviously are showing a tremendous amount of effort in these games.
Yeah, to me, and I'll be honest, I may have been in the locker room or two where you kind of lost not the respect, but you just couldn't hear the coach anymore. It's like, hey man, whatever he's saying it's not working. You know what I mean? We're kind of just over it. It's not working out, whatever the case may be. You don't see that with these Jaguars. They believe in Doug Peterson. Like you said, it's an execution issue. It's not an effort issue. And what you'll see when a player loses interest in the coach, when a team is struggling to listen to their coach or just doesn't believe in their coach, he lost the locker room, you'll see it clearly on the field with their effort, with their attitude in the media, with just like overall, they just won't care. Not everybody, but overall as a team, they just won't care. Right now, the Jaguars care. They want to win. They've been in 3 out of the 4 games. They could very well be 2-2 right now. They could be possibly 3-1, right? Things kind of ball bounces certain ways. They could be much better than what their record is. I don't see that at all. I don't think Doug has lost that. I think it's going to be a hard road back because, like you said, it's an execution thing. It's a scheme thing. It's going out there and throwing and making the right throw and making the right tackle and not having a holding penalty in the end zone and not missing the big throws down the field and guys staying healthy. These guys want to win. I don't see that at all. It's just been a rough start. It's been a rough road thus far, especially when Shad Khan goes out there and says, hey, this is supposed to be the best team in Jaguars history. This is one of the best teams ever we assembled, right? He goes out there and says that, and you start 0-4. It's like, whoa, what's really going on? You spend a bunch of money in the offseason. You brought a bunch of guys in. Now it's time to, like you said, execute, live up to the expectations, live up to whatever standard that Doug is setting. But he has not lost that locker room at all. It's just a rough start, and they're not playing well on the field. When you see a team that's lost, when you see a team, you'll see stuff in the media, you'll see stuff on social media, you'll see stuff on the field. It's like, okay, these guys are giving up silly penalties, doing extra stuff after the flag or after the whistle. Those are the things you can say, all right, the team is lost. But right now, the team is all in with Doug Peterson. They've got to find a way to execute better.
See, so I want to end with the Colts matchup on Sunday, but quickly, your former position, wide receiver. Boy, it looks like the Jaguars found something with Brian Thomas Jr.
We talked about this earlier, and it's happening. Like he's your number one guy. I said it earlier in the year. Like I think like about halfway through, maybe end of the season, he'll be number one. He's your number one guy. He's special. I don't know what they drink at LSU. I don't know how they recruit. I don't know what's going on, but they seem to breed receivers. So Malik Neighbors, LSU's doing an awesome job. And then, of course, BTJ is just finding ways to get open. The double moves he's putting on, the separation, the tough catches, way he's finding the ball in the air, run after catch, the reverse he had Sunday, making guys miss, being patient with his blocks. He's making plays over and over and over again. And it's exciting to see. He has a chance to be a special, special player. And when you add him to the mix of Evan Ingram, when he gets to come back, hopefully this week, and Christian Kirk, who they targeted early on last week, they got to try to get him going. I love seeing that. You got a special, special group of receivers, but BTJ he's on his way to have a special year.
Final moments with former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, Indianapolis comes in here. This is weird, right? You have to go back to when you were a Jacksonville Jaguar the last time Indianapolis has won a game here. I believe it was your last year, 2014, in Jacksonville. Wow. I mean, it's been 10 years since the Colts have won here, and they've lost in miraculous fashion. The Jaguars' only win in 2020 came here against Indy. The Jaguars knocked Indy out of the playoffs, the final regular season game of 2021. That's a talking point up in Indianapolis. Plus, they have injury issues up there. A lot of guys didn't practice this week. Boy, Jacksonville certainly has an opportunity, right, on Sunday to get their first win of the year.
They'll have some opportunity for sure. It's a big game. There'll be a lot of excitement with bringing back the old throwback jerseys. A lot of excitement with Tom Coughlin being inducted. It'll be if I'm not mistaken, it's Legends Weekend, so it'll be a lot of excitement around the city. It's about them going out there and playing well, right? And I think the biggest thing for them is to stop the run on defense, right? Now, let me say this: Vontrell Miller last week looked really good. First ever start, and he looked outstanding. He was making plays sideline to sideline. He understood his assignments. He was in the right spots. He's really stood out, and I thought that was huge with two of your starting linebackers out that week. But if he can continue to play well and that defense can be stout up front, if Jonathan Taylor plays, stop the run, stop Anthony Richardson from running, make him, if he plays, right, make him beat you with passing. Keep him in the pocket. You got to blitz a certain type of way. You can't just blitz from one side. You can get out the other. You got to, do like a stunt up front, maybe with a mash, with a linebacker coming up the middle. Keep him inside the pocket, contain him, and you got a real shot. But this is a great opportunity on homecoming weekend. You got the legends coming back to town. You got old school throwback jerseys. Tom Coughlin to be there. This is a great opportunity to get back on the winning track versus division opponents. So they should have some momentum going into the game, even after that loss, right? And then once they get on the field, it's about execution. Figure out a way to win. Find a way to win. Like, good teams find ways to win. I'm a firm believer in that. And bad teams find ways to lose. Right now, they're finding ways to lose. They can turn this around. The first quarter of the season is over. You got 3 more quarters left. And actually, an extra, because it's not even 16 games anymore, right? It's 17 games. So you got 4 quarters in the extra game. So if you can figure it out this week and get things rolling, I think you can be in good shape moving forward.
And Cecil, to that point, final question. We got about 90 seconds to go. It does not take a giant leap, right? It's not far-fetched. You got the Colts at home. Then you get the Bears and the Patriots in London, right? I mean, if there's mountains and valleys in the schedule, the first 4 was a mountain because it was 4 playoff teams from last year. These next 3 are one of the valleys with the Colts, the Bears, and the Patriots, 1 week at a time, but it's not far-fetched to believe 3 and 4 could potentially still be in play.
No, not at all. The way those teams are playing, and honestly, you are better than what your record shows if you watch the film. Now, I agree with you. You are what your record says. But when they play, you see, okay, I see they can be better. Potential is for them to be better than 0-4. They could have beat Miami. They could have beat the Houston. They could have beat another team. They end these games. They have to learn how to finish the games and not hurt themselves, self-inflicted wounds, right? So if you can come up this week with that momentum we talked about, find a way to win this week. And then you got New England and Chicago. Like, you got these teams that are beatable, that are looking for just any type of hope. If you go out there and do that in London, you'll be just fine. You're experience. You've been to London before. You know how to handle this situation, right? Those teams necessarily don't. So I think the shoes. I think you have the head up when it comes to that. But if you can get out of there 3-4, really start on Sunday, then 1 week at a time, and really get things going, you'll be in good shape.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Cecil, I know you're busy. Thank you as always for the time. We'll talk again next week, my friend.
Hey, sounds good, brother. Appreciate it.
There you go. Cecil Shorts always with us here on Hacker After Dark as Week 5 of the National Football League has kicked off. Tampa Bay and Atlanta might have a shootout on our hands. Atlanta took the opening kickoff, marched right down the field. Kirk Cousins to Drake London, touchdown. Tampa Bay gets the ball, their first possession. They drive it all the way down the field. Baker Mayfield just hit Mike Evans for a touchdown. 7-7 Falcons-Bucks midway through the first quarter. We will keep you updated. Week 5 of the NFL, it's week 6 in the world of college football. And with Florida and UCF and Florida State Clemson and Miami Cal, Georgia, Auburn, just to name a few. Should be a pretty good Saturday. Let's talk about all of it, focusing obviously on Florida, Florida State, and Miami with my buddy Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on XL Primetime, and you also read his terrific work at the USA Today. He joins me next. A little college talk on a Thursday evening here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Start game day with Insider Insight and football fun. Sounds like a plan. It's the Terminix Kickoff Show, live from Tailgaters Parking.
Let's get back out there.
Brought to you by Gatorade and Clearwater Irrigation.
Okay, it's go time.
On 1010XL.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a gravy taster from Jacksonville, Florida, me, Dennis Mosley.
Hi, Ken.
Okay, Dennis. 100 plumbers surveyed, top answer on the board. What does it mean if someone says your home has hard water?
It's made of ice? Let's see. Hard water. Oh, is it club soda mixed 4-to-1 with vodka?
Last chance, Dennis. What is hard water?
Oh, is it that lime scale stuff that makes my taps all crusty?
That's right, Dennis. And a water treatment system from Bueller Air and Plumbing will eliminate troublesome lime scale deposits that can ruin your expensive appliances and let your neighbors know for sure that you are cool.
I wonder if I can get me a gin and tonic faucet.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by November 7th.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors. Proud partner of the Florida Gators.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed is taking action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit, lowering mortgage rates big time. Prosser here. That means this is the best chance in 2 years to do a cash-out refi and unlock all that equity at an amazing rate. Loan Pronto has fixed loans under 5% APR, the lowest in 2 years. You can get a fast refi and get $50,000 to $75,000, even $100,000 in cash. Use it to pay off all your credit cards, personal loans, car loans. You'll end up with one payment each month. And for most homeowners, they save over $850 every month. If you want to keep your original mortgage intact, ask about the Loan Pronto Express Equity Line of Credit. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781.
A different path means a new hope for Miami football this season.
Find out what you need to know about the Canes on the Performance Painting Hurricane Report.
Keep an eye on the Canes as they strike back on 1010XL. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Rascal Flats. Life is a Highway Tour 2025. Saturday, April 5th, 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena.
The sound of that.
Country music's greatest vocal group, Rascal Flats. Back on the road. With special guests Lauren Elena and Chris Lane. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Rascal Flats Live.
Jacksonville, are you ready? The college basketball season is tipping off with an epic in-state showdown. The Florida Gators and South Florida Bulls go head-to-head in the Jacksonville Sports Foundation Invitational. Be there Monday, November 4th at Veterans Memorial Arena and witness this in-state rivalry live. Secure your seats now at Ticketmaster.com. It's Florida versus South Florida to start the college basketball season on November 4th in Jacksonville. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
Cyber threats don't take time outs. Protect your business with DoubleCheck Cybersecurity's AI-powered solutions. Get 24/7 defense and stop hackers before they score. Don't wait. Visit DoubleCheck.com to schedule your free security consultation today.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is a Thursday evening, and we are glad you are with us. Should be an interesting weekend of college football. Of course, the big one in Gainesville, big for Florida standards, man. They got to beat UCF, and what an opportunity it is for the Knights coming off a very disappointing game against Colorado. Florida State has a new quarterback, but boy, they have a red-hot Clemson team coming in. And Miami traveling thousands of miles away to take on the Cal Golden Bears. With all that being said, my buddy Matt Hayes, you hear him every day on XL Primetime. You read his terrific work at the USA Today, and he's one of the best when it comes to covering the world of college football. Matt, how we doing, man?
Great, Hack. How are you?
Matt, we're good. Thank you for the time. I know it's a very busy time of year for you. And, you know, last time you and I talked on air was about a month ago, and at that point, Florida State was just simply a disappointment. Matt, it's borderline embarrassing now, right? 1-4, all sorts of injury problems, a red-hot Clemson team coming in on Saturday. I mean, how bad is this year going to get in Tallahassee?
How bad? I don't think Florida State can beat Florida. That's how bad.
Wow.
That's how bad. You know, it's funny. It's funny. They, you know, their whole reason for going to court and trying to get out of the ACC and, you know, trying to get into another conference, which, by the way, they have no home, but it's another story for another time. One of the reasons they were upset the way the ACC was diluted because, you know, it added Stanford and Cal and SMU, and Cal almost beats them at home, but for a couple weird plays. They go on the road to SMU and just get, in your word, obliterated. And it was that game, I'll tell you what, that game last week was really eye-opening. Just how, I mean, like you know, like we didn't know prior with the loss to Memphis at home, you know, and the other losses in September. That game, I think, really underscored, I think, not only how much they missed in the portal, or Mike Norvell and his staff missed in the portal this offseason, but really, like, how quickly it can go south for a team if you've got a bunch of really talented guys that don't believe anymore. And I think right now you look at that team, and I'm not sure they believe anymore because they're better than SMU just about every position other than quarterback. And they're bigger than SMU. They're more athletic than SMU. And it was like they weren't even on the field, Hack. It was embarrassing what was going on. And I just think that's a difficult spot to be in right now for Mike Norvell, because I think he's in a situation right now where these guys now clearly it's about, okay, especially the guys that are getting ready to go to the NFL. How do I not get injured? How do I stay alive in this situation and still protect my future? And the young guys, you know, they're just young guys and they're trying to figure it out. And I hope something happens now with Brock Glenn, and I hope that's the spark that they need to kind of turn it a little bit and maybe get those older guys reinvested in what's going on, because they did not look invested last week. And it's funny, we were at the FSU practice at the flex field. Brock Glenn was a guy I thought had a live arm, man. That was watching practice. I thought, that dude's not that bad. And I think if he gets in there and he starts getting more reps and he starts getting more comfortable with just playing in general, I think you're going to see a different team, because he's athletic. He can run. He can run that zone read stuff that, DJU basically just plods through with his negative yards. He can run a little bit, but more importantly, he's got an arm, man. I'm telling you, he's got some velocity in that arm.
You hear Matt Hayes every day on XL Primetime. You read his work at the USA Today. He's with us here on Hacker After Dark. Matt, quickly, because I want to get to Florida and UCF. I mean, Florida State was 13-0 basically 9 months ago. Now they're 1-4, and they're maybe staring 1-5, 1-6 in the face. Can you remember a bigger fall from grace for a program in a 10-month stretch?
Heck, they weren't only 13-0. They had won 19 straight.
Yeah.
They had won 19 straight. That's what's so crazy about it all. I don't know that I can remember a bigger from one spot to another. No, I'm sure there is. I can't think of it right now. It's hard to watch them right now, because you watch that defense, and they've got NFL players in that defense, especially on the edge. And it's difficult to watch them not dominate games. And I understand they're out there all the time because the offense can't move, and that's definitely part of it. But it's hard to watch them play games where you're like, wait a second, what is going on right now? I honestly believe if they start putting together some first downs and they start stringing together drives and they score some and they score early, okay, and they score early, then I think you're going to see that defense play like we all thought it was going to play. Does that happen with Brock Glenn? I mean, I think it could. Look, I was the guy who was saying earlier in the year that you got to play him because I saw him in the flex field those two practices and I thought he could play, and I kind of made a joke on our show on XLP. I was like, Brock Glenn's going to be one of those guys that transfers from Florida State. He goes to wherever, USF, wherever, somewhere in the American Conference or something like that, and he just blows up and he has 33 touchdowns in a year and throws for 3,400 yards. Just one of those guys that once he gets away and gets to another environment, you really see what he's like. Well, guess what? Now he's got a chance to do it here at Florida State with DJU's injured finger. I'd love to see it, man. I would love to see it.
Tough spot to put him in, though, right out of the gate, obviously, with Clemson coming in, a very hot Clemson team. We'll see what happens on Saturday night. Also on Saturday night, Matt, UCF goes to Florida. Quickly to UCF, I mean, they were feeling really good, 3-0, comeback win over TCU, a bye week, everything's great. National TV last week, Coach Prime and the Buffaloes roll in there, and whoa, that was bad for UCF. I mean, what do you make of that? Just a bad day at the office, or are there more issues there?
I think it was more the former than the latter. I'm not sure they were ready for that. I think they thought, okay, look at us, we're unbeaten. It's a little bit, Leon Cersei, our friend, always says they were smelling themselves. And I think it was part that. I think Colorado's improved too. I don't know how good Colorado was. I just think they've improved since week one. And clearly they have a fantastic quarterback and a fantastic receiver, or I should say receivers, three of them. So they can score on anybody. But I don't think UCF was mentally sharp for that game, because the way UCF can run the ball and the way UCF can rush the quarterback, they should have won that game, because that's exactly how you're going to beat Colorado. You run the ball and keep them off the field, and then you rush the quarterback, and Colorado can't protect the quarterback. So they should have won that game at home. I think it's probably the worst thing that could have happened for Florida, because now they're awake a little bit. Now they realize, all right, we screwed up last week. Now what do we got to do? So we'll see. Florida's had 2 weeks to prepare for it. They've had 2 weeks to get healthy. They've had 2 weeks to realize it's this UCF game, and then the gauntlet begins. And now the gauntlet suddenly includes Kentucky and Tennessee and if you thought the last 5 games of the season were big, it's going to get the rest of the season is just brutal.
For Florida, look, we're looking for things that are plausible, right? Things that could happen. It's not far-fetched to believe that Florida could win these 2 home games. They're not going to win in Knoxville, but could they beat UCF? Yeah. Could they beat Kentucky? Probably more difficult, but yeah, they could. If that happens, I'm not saying it will, Matt, but if, and they're 4-3, does that get Napier till the end of the year at least?
Yeah, I think it would, but I mean, heck, what have we seen from them in the 2 big games this year? I shouldn't even say big games. I should say 2 games where they're playing a Power 5 opponent that's a legit Power 5 opponent. Okay? What have we seen from them? Mississippi State is not a legit Power 5. I don't know what Mississippi State is. That's terrible. Okay? You look at the Miami and Texas A&M games, and both at home, by the way. And, it looked just like it's looked the last 2 years. Like they're overwhelmed. They're out-coached. Operationally, it looks like a mess. So, you asked me what happens if they beat UCF and they beat Kentucky. My question is, what if they lose both of them?
Yeah. What do you do? If they lose both of them, he's gone before Georgia, right?
What if they lose by 21 against UCF this weekend?
Yeah.
Right? That's the way I'm looking at it now, because I've seen this movie. We've seen it in Gainesville. Two games of competent Power 5 to Power 4 teams. So now you got 2 more coming in. But it's certainly an opportunity for that staff to get those 2 wins, like you said, and get a little momentum and move into that second half of the season. And then you're right, you're probably safe at that point, because what are you going to do then? What happens then? Safe by he may not get fired till November. You know what I mean?
That's certainly the way it appears. 2-2, kind of a fork in the road game for Florida, and they play UCF. Both the Florida and Florida State games will be going on pretty much simultaneously. 1 at 7, 1 at 7:45. Final moments with Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on primetime. You also read him there at the USA Today. All right, Miami, and this is the whole conference realignment thing. We saw it earlier this year when Washington had to play Rutgers in a classic Big Ten battle. Here's Miami.
Which was a great game, by the way. Great game, Hack.
It was a great game. There's no doubt about it. It was a lot of fun. But here's Miami, Matt. A collegiate athlete, my gosh, what are we talking? 2,000 miles? From
2,000. It's 3,100 from Coral Gables to Berkeley.
3,100 miles. That's insanity, right?
That's going to be all of about 7 hours on a plane.
Ugh.
6.5, 7 hours.
And game day is going to be there, which is odd. What do you make of Miami? 5-0. The Virginia Tech ending was one of the more fascinating endings I've ever seen in my life. But obviously, Miami's got to be very happy with where they are right now.
What do I think of Miami? I think it was a really fortunate wake-up call Friday. I think they were feeling it a little bit. You're at home. It's a Friday night game. The place was packed. You kind of maybe overlooked Virginia Tech a little bit. And Virginia Tech's a pretty good team. Virginia Tech's a team that's a lot more talented than people think it shouldn't be. What are they, 2-3 right now, I think. And you kind of got into a situation where it got out of hand a little bit. I look at that game. It's the best thing that could have happened to them because, number one, I truly believe when you're a great team, you win the games you should. And the games you should. That was a game they should have won, okay? And they were down 17 at one point in the second half. And they came back and figured it out and won it, which was not easy. That is not easy. Because teams that kind of don't get it yet will not win that game. They just won't. They came back and won that game. And I think it also kind of set them right in their head for this game. Because if they just blow Virginia Tech out, this game is a dangerous game at that point because you fly all the way, like you say, all the way out there to Cal. You sitting around a hotel hour after hour after hour waiting for this game to come on, okay? Then at 10:30 arrives East Coast time. It's still 10:30 in their head, man, no matter any way you look at it. 10:30 arrives East Coast time, and the game kicks off. And you're playing a team that, we watched the FSU game, okay? They know how to play defense. They're really good on defense. They give up 12.8 points a game, and they lead the nation in interceptions with 10, okay? So they're going to get a couple turnovers. You better be ready for this game. And I think, if anything, the Virginia Tech game kind of woke up Miami.
As we wrap up, other games this weekend, Georgia-Auburn. I don't really think that's going to be competitive. You kind of wonder where both teams are mentally after last week. And I'll tell you, Missouri A&M, Matt, might be the most compelling SEC game.
Yeah, fun one. Well, there's two, really, if you think about it. Missouri A&M definitely, and Ole Miss going into South Carolina is going to be a fun game too, man. Those are two really dicey games for two teams, Missouri and Ole Miss, who a lot of people thought could be playoff teams. Ole Miss could be essentially out of the playoff race if they can't win at South Carolina. And South Carolina, we've watched them this year. They're a lot better than I think a lot of people thought. We saw what they did to Kentucky, okay? And they probably should have beaten LSU. There's a couple strange calls in that game, to say the least, all right? And they got a couple bad breaks in that game. So that's a dangerous spot for Ole Miss. And the Missouri game is, look, we know what they did last year, all right? We know that they went to to I believe it was the Cotton Bowl. Yeah, the Cotton Bowl. Beat Ohio State. I know Ohio State was with their third-string quarterback. Still a good win, right? They had all the momentum in the offseason. They've got everybody returning. This is your moment right now if you're Mizzou. This is your moment. You're on the road at Texas A&M in a place they haven't played well before. And historically do not play well there, all right? You got to go in there, and you've got to win that game. That's against a team that's pretty hot right now in Texas A&M. Marcel Reed's playing really well. I know that Connor Weigman is they say he's ready to go, and I know that Mike Elko says publicly, he says if Connor Weigman is completely healthy, he's playing, he's a starter. That's crazy. That's not going to happen. There's no way they're taking Marcel Reed, who they're 3-0 with, who gives them the ability as a presence in the run game. They're not taking him off the field. To me, I look at that Marcel Reed is almost taking that job from Connor Weigman. Unless he blows up, that's going to be his job. So it's a difficult spot for Missouri, no doubt about it.
You get Matt Hayes every day on XL Primetime. You also read his terrific work covering the world of college football there at the USA Today. Matt, also college football weekend kind of kicks off with your show on Friday night here on 1010XL.
Yep, it's the college football kickoff, 6 p.m. We break it down. JJ DeSilva and I, Hack, we break it down every Friday. Listen to it. We have fun. We'll inform you. We'll joke. We'll have a good time.
Matt, we know you're busy, brother. We always appreciate the time. Thanks as always, my friend.
All right, Hack.
Playoff teams limit their weaknesses. Offense, defense, and special teams all contribute.
All three phases come into play.
Listen for the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Sometimes special teams can be fun.
On 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Mia here. The name to remember this hurricane season is Pro Jax Roofing. Your neighbors have relied on Mike for 25 years to repair or replace their roofs. When you call Pro Jax Roofing, you only talk to Mike. No expensive salespeople. You always get the best price for your project. For the lowest insurance rates, a free wind mitigation report is always given with your roof replacement. Pro Jax Roofing wishes you a safe hurricane season. And if needed, Mike is here to help. Call today for a free estimate or go online at projaxroofingfl.com.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the water boy at waterboyjack.com.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Roof damage? Call before you claim. Green Law Group, fighting insurance companies for you. They will work for you when you have roof damage. Don't let your insurance deny you. Don't call an adjuster. Call Green Law Group at 904-302-7055. Remember, if you have roof damage, call Green Law Group before you claim. They've settled millions and will work hard to get your claim and new roof. Green Law Group. Call before you claim. 904-302-7055.
Googan Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Early second quarter in Atlanta, we got a good one. Buccaneers-Falcons. The Buccaneers were up 10-7 until literally seconds ago. Kirk Cousins, his second touchdown pass of the night to Darnell Mooney. Extra point pending, but right now 13-10 Atlanta over the Buccaneers. 12 minutes to go in the first half. Coming up later on in the 9 o'clock hour, Eric Edholm, NFL.com. Talking Jags, AFC South, a little Brian Thomas Jr. and more. And we will also go up to Indianapolis, get one more final word on the Colts side of things heading into Sunday. Derek Schultz has been one of my guys up in Indy for years, ISC Sports Net up in Indianapolis, and we'll get the thoughts about Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, and the 2-2 Colts that come to Jacksonville to look to end a streak that has had them losing here every time since 2014. Before we get there, though, every week here on Hacker After Dark, let's do it right now. My 5-year-old, my kindergartner, it's Hack and Little Hack make the picks on Hacker After Dark.
Hacker After Dark for a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. I caught a little frog today.
You did catch a little frog today. It's Hack and Big Hack make the picks on Hacker After Dark. How was catching that frog? Was that an exciting experience for you?
Good. Addie got mad. I didn't let her have a turn, but I did let her have a turn.
Yeah, I know. You didn't share the frog, which was interesting. Although, you did let the frog back, which was nice. All right, Hack and Little Hack make the picks. We're going to pick the Florida State game, the Florida game, and the Jaguar game. Now, Little Hack, you've done really well picking Florida State games this year. You nailed SMU last weekend. So let's go ahead and do it. Florida State, Saturday night in Tallahassee, taking on Clemson. Probably won't be easy for Florida State, let's be honest. But who do you like? Do you like Florida State or Clemson, the Tigers or the Seminoles on Saturday night in Tallahassee?
Clemson.
You're going to take Clemson to beat Florida State? Yeah. And what's your reasoning for that?
It's current. I picked Florida State. Is that Florida State? Okay. Whatever team they're playing against it, but...
Oh, man, that is just terrific analysis right there. So you're going to pick Clemson to win the game. I agree with you. I'm also going to take Clemson. All right, Little Hack, Saturday night in Gainesville. Florida and Central Florida, the Gators and the Knights. Boy, big game for Florida, big opportunity for UCF. I like those picks. I'm actually going right alongside you. Give me the Gators and give me the Clemson Tigers. Finally, Little Hack, Sunday here in Jacksonville. The Jaguars still have not won a game. They're playing the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have not won a game here in Jacksonville since you were just a twinkle in my eye, man, since September of 2014. Can Jacksonville finally win a game, or will they lose again? Little Hack, who you taking, the Jaguars or the Colts on Sunday?
Jaguars, and I'll go the other team.
You want me to go Jaguars and you're going to go Colts?
Crane, we'll see whose team is right.
Oh, man. Well, I think, going to go Jaguars. So is your pick official? You're going to take the Colts on Sunday?
So we can see. We'll give the Jaguars one chance to, on Sunday, Dad can watch them. If they don't win, then we're never announcing Jaguars on the microphone again while they're done to next football season.
That might affect Daddy's job a little bit, but whatever you want to go with, whatever toots your horn. Do you have a quick message for Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson going into Sunday's game?
How about you guys go to the other team?
No, you don't want Trevor to go to the other team, even though he's struggling a little bit. All right, so Little Hack is taking Clemson. He's taking Florida. And yes, he is taking the Indianapolis Colts. Little Hack, you have a final message for everybody tonight?
My daddy, he was literally flipping out when I have that froggy. And it was like Mr. Hoppa. It was like jaw.
Yeah, I did not like you having the frog. That's a good point. And that's analysis that you simply cannot get anywhere else. Join us next week for Hack and Little Hack Make the Picks. Where does that happen, Little Hack? Right here on
Hacker After Dark. Bye, Denmark. See you soon.
Pick the winners and be a winner. Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park. Pick the worst. You'll still win some pizza. The 10-10 Weekly Pick'em Contest is brought to you by MyBookie at 1010XL.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
Firefighters, paramedics, police officers, they take care of us, and at AMCO, we're proud to take care of them. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. As an essential business, we work on every kind of car repair with flexible financing and extra safety precautions. Essential, reliable, trusted. That's the men and women who are there for us, and it's our honor to be there for them. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here to elevate your protection game. Using the same simple password across all your accounts? That's risky. While updating your passwords to be more unique is a good start, true peace of mind comes with LifeLock. LifeLock doesn't just alert you to suspicious activity, but monitors for more uses of your personal info and will fix identity theft issues that arise, guaranteed, or your money back. Secure your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford.
In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think.
Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Stuck on what to do with a plumbing issue? Just call the Duck. Duck Rooter are experts at plumbing and are a 5-star Google-rated company. You name it, they do it. Water heater replacements to sewer drain cleaning, leaks to repipes. Fully licensed and insured with highly trained technicians. Trust the Duck to fix it right. Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Meet Zara, talking about his experience with BioTarget Regenerative Therapy at Injury Care Centers.
I came to Injury Care Centers because I'm an old football player and some of my old injuries were beginning to catch up with me. I couldn't do what I used to do without having severe pain. I felt the improvements from the BioTargeting almost immediately. Very few places would guarantee their work because, doctors, they say they're practicing medicine, so you're essentially just an experiment. The folks at Injury Care Centers offering a 100% money-back guarantee lets you know that they take your well-being very seriously.
Stop masking your pain with harmful medications. There's a better solution. BioTarget Regenerative Therapy has helped countless others, and it can help you too. Call 904-92-REGEN or visit GoBioTarget.com today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Colts, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL Radio as the Jaguars, well, quite frankly, they're trying to get off the mat, right? They're the only winless team in the NFL, and they're hoping to change that on Sunday afternoon. Let's talk about it with Eric Edholm, a buddy from NFL.com, does a terrific job covering the National Football League, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Eric, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I know better than some of you guys down there. It's been a struggle, but happy to hop on with you.
Eric, you and I talked during the offseason, and we've talked for the last couple of years. I mean, look, I'm never going to proclaim to be a Jaguar homer. Some people here say I'm too negative. I was of the thinking, though, maybe 8, 9, 10 wins, something in that ballpark. I didn't think that was ludicrous. Eric, I'm stunned at 0-4, particularly the heartbreaking fashion which 3 of them have happened. What's been your reaction to the start of the year here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, if you're the glass half full type, you start with the fact that, they've had 3 road games. They've had 3 games that came down to 1 possession, the final minute of the game. But yeah, I mean, if you looked at the first half of the week 1 game, you thought, all right, we're back, right? So I definitely understand how we've gotten to this point and experienced all those emotions along the way. I was surprised too. I mean, again, I think it's more about the offense right now. You certainly could look at the Buffalo game and argue and even Sunday giving up the game-winning drive late. But the disappointment, given the offensive star power they have, given the coaching staff and their resumes and all that, given the progress that we thought the quarterback had made and what we expected, I think more of the 2022 version of Trevor Lawrence and the addition of Brian Thomas and everything. I don't know. It hasn't added up, even if there have been some interesting developments. That's probably been the biggest surprise. And I still think there's time to, I guess you'd say, turn it around, but at 0-4 historically, I think there's been one team that I think it was the 92 Chargers off the top of my head who made the playoffs with that record to start the year. But point is, even with a 17-game schedule, it's virtually impossible. So the reality has to set in at some point here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And you're one of the NFL draft guys, certainly, and you've covered it for years. So you saw Trevor and followed him through the draft process and obviously have studied his career since he got in the league. Eric, in your opinion, what's wrong there? Because there does appear something to be wrong with Trevor right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously in the past you would have said, fumbles, turnovers in general were a big issue. And though he's seemingly cut down on those a little bit, I think the 2 things that have stood out when I've watched him, and I haven't seen every snap, but I've seen a good amount of them, probably just pocket presence and feel. Trevor kind of navigating pressure. And some of that has to do with play calling, obviously the blocking in front of him, how quickly there's receivers separating, all that. And, I'm sure somebody who's watched every play on all 22 could give a more in-depth answer. But those stand out, but also – maybe it wasn't as big an issue yesterday or Sunday, I should say, but deep ball accuracy, having those opportunities to make plays and not being able to connect certainly remains a work in progress. But yeah, I mean, going into last season and even just the toughness Trevor showed in playing through some injuries last year, I was still encouraged. I mean, even with the way things turning south after the 8-3 start and even during stretches of that 8-3 beginning, it's hard not to say that he's improved from what we saw in 22. So again, he's a young kid. I thought stability would help, but it hasn't to this point. I'm not sure how much of it is a play calling thing. That's an easy sort of crutch to fall back on. I know it was a question that was asked of Doug this weekend, and I know the answer probably didn't thrill people, but at some point the responsibility is on the QB to make fixes and to clean these things up. So some small signs of progress, but obviously haven't translated into wins or accuracy. I mean, to drop from a 64% passer, I want to say, coming into the year to what we're seeing now has been a major disappointment and a big reason why so many drives come up empty.
Eric Edholm, NFL.com, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Eric, we're certainly looking for answers too, and you're hearing things like he's pressing because of the large contract. He's lost confidence in the offense. He's getting hit so much because his offensive line is terrible, although in their defense they were pretty decent against Houston.
I agree.
Maybe lost confidence in that line. Was there ever any thought when you followed Trevor and studied him in the draft process that, if things started going bad, he might go into a shell a little bit? I never heard anything along those lines.
No, I mean, if anything, it was like scouts were almost taken aback in a good way, I think, by his equanimity, right? Like the guy just never seemed to try to change. I mean, he was so flatline, and we've seen guys like that succeed in the NFL. I think to guys like Eli Manning, right? Like he had the same expression every single game and, good, bad, or otherwise. I mean, a 40-point win or 40-point loss, it felt like he was, the same guy walking in the building that he was afterward. Other people may argue, hey, you need a fiery guy. You're like an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or whoever. And that's the true measure of a gritty quarterback who demands the most out of his teammates. It's going to depend, obviously, team to team and philosophy to philosophy, but I never heard anything like that. Now, he didn't experience a lot of trouble at Clemson. I mean, this is back in their heyday when losing 2 games in a season was a travesty. So, I felt like it's in that playoff game where he ripped off the long touchdown run and did face some adversity and responded to it. When tested, you saw little glimmers of a shot of, hey, maybe this kid has more of that than we think. There was the long, consecutive games played streak that obviously speaks to his willingness to fight through some pain, and other things along the way, responding from a terrible rookie season and a no-win type of situation and bouncing back the next year and making strides. That's evidence that he can get it done, but the fact that it's been so rocky, I guess, and unsteady kind of has followed the path of the Jaguars, right? I mean, from a ton of losses to a ton of wins, stretching over parts of 2 seasons to now a lot of losses over the last, 2/3 of a season, I guess you count the stretch and what we've seen so far this year. So, as they go, or as he goes, they go, I guess is what you'd say. And, I don't know. I'm not willing to give up on him. I don't think anyone is quite at that point yet. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it's
the problem,
a risky
Eric,
game to go too deep on that.
Yeah, with that contract, you really can't give up on him. I mean, he's here, right, man.
I mean, like this, it's not where the Browns are with Deshaun Watson, right? Obviously, that's kind of the extreme example where you look at a team and a franchise and they're kind of handcuffed to each other, and it feels like a kind of a hostage situation almost, like where there's no getting out of this, right? It's a little different, obviously, but at least Jaguars fans have seen him play well for his team. Browns fans have not felt that way about Watson. They have not seen him anywhere close to his Texans peak. So, again, I don't think it's at that level of dire a situation, but sure, it's absolutely concerning that the growth has turned on its head and it's going in the wrong direction right now.
Couple more for Eric Edholm of NFL.com. Eric, there's not been a lot of silver linings at 0-4, but the one there has been, I think the Jaguars found something with Brian Thomas Jr. That guy looks like he's going to be a stud.
Yeah, and I mean, there were some times watching him, again, kind of going back to my draft perspective, like couple early season games last year where, a concentration drop or a little lazy route or so, just little things that kind of held me back from loving him. But then he would make these explosive plays. And, physically speaking, there aren't too many more impressive receivers in any draft class, much less even a stocked one like last year's. But I had a feeling not only would the Jaguars be very interested in his services, I think I mocked him consistently to Jacksonville, time and time again. I just felt like this makes too much sense. It was either a corner or a wide receiver, and the wide receiver is almost always Thomas. So it made sense before they drafted him. He's looked the part since. You'd obviously love to see him be a regular part of the offense after missing Ridley and, just having somebody to rely on. I mean, it's tough for a guy going into his 5th game to be counted on at that level. But, look at what Malik Neighbors suddenly means to the Giants. Look at what Marvin Harrison could mean to the Cardinals. And you start to understand it's kind of a different timetable these days. And receivers' growth can happen really fast, faster than other positions and faster than that position did 20 years ago. So he's a prime example of that. Deep ball ability, physical ability, fighting through contact, winning balls in the air, speed. I mean, he's got the total package, and he's a fun player to watch.
Eric, Indianapolis comes in here on Sunday. The Colts haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014. It's just an odd stat, but it's a decade since Indianapolis has won here in Duval County. We don't know the status of Anthony Richardson yet, but talking to people up in Indy, they think there's a better chance than not he will give it a go on Sunday. Boy, Anthony Richardson, we love him down here, right? Former Gator, and we're rooting for him. But there's questions about him, correct?
Oh, yeah. I mean, physical ones are the biggest one. And a lot of people have said, listen, I mean, if Anthony wants to be a star quarterback, the tools are all there. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen him even in such a small sample size. Look back to, week 2 against C.J. Stroud last year. Right away, you thought, wow, okay, there's something here. But too often he can't finish games because that self-preservation instinct doesn't exist, or there's just some kind of level of awareness missing where, he's sort of putting his body in harm's way. The play this weekend, where he gets injured, kind of a hip pointer type thing. Yeah, like that could happen to anybody. He's a scrambling quarterback. He's going to be in harm's way. Yes, there are ways to slide and sort of prevent those hits. There's also like we were talking about with Trevor, some throws you see him make and it's wildly off target. And you think, wow, okay, is he going to be able to develop that touch, especially on those short and intermediate passes? Everyone saw that missile he launched in week 1. So there's a health element and there's a football consistency element that's missing. But as long as he's still got that big playability and can drag himself out there, he remains a fascinating talent. Like you said, I don't know what's going to happen this weekend. Anywhere Joe Flacco shows up, you get a little nervous. He might take your job, Wally Pipp you pretty quick. But I think they're going to try to do everything they can to preserve him, obviously, and make sure he's the long-term guy. But like you said, I think there's a chance this weekend he'll try to go.
Yeah, that's the odd thing. I think most people here in Jacksonville, myself included, we probably want him to play. Flacco killed us last year when he was with the Browns, and the Jaguars' lack of pass rush, you give Flacco time, he'll pick you apart. Anthony Richardson maybe won't do that. Eric, final question while I have you here. Tennessee on Monday night got a win over Miami. Boy, that was an ugly game. But they got a win with Mason Rudolph. Will Levis left that game with a shoulder after he already had thrown another pick. Does Tennessee have a Will Levis problem?
They do, whether Brian Callahan wants to admit it or not. I mean, look, I on the one hand, you could applaud a guy like Dave Canales in Carolina for benching Bryce Young, and through 2 weeks, it looks like the right decision, right? Last night, I don't know that you saw a ton of evidence that Mason Rudolph was the guy, but there's also the behind-the-scenes stuff, everything they've seen up to this point. And, of course, everything Levis has done. I mean, he coughed up the week 1 game in Chicago. He had multiple turnovers against the Jets, a couple more along the way. And, yeah, I mean, he only was out there for a short period of time and still had the 1 interception on Monday. So, I mean, Callahan to this point has been in his corner. This is going to be an interesting bye week. The shoulder injury obviously has to be checked out. He's got to be cleared and all that, but there is a built-in excuse now to make a change if they want. The win helps. They're obviously, sort of treading water. But, yeah, what do they do? How do they handle this? Is Levis, he's a tough, competitive guy, and maybe he responds well to being benched. Maybe he doesn't. We don't know that. I'll be fascinated. I don't think they're married to him by any means, but Callahan has been in his corner to this point.
Eric, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, NFL.com, what you have coming up as we approach week 5 of the NFL season.
Yeah, just did the Power Rankings podcast. That should be out on NFL.com, YouTube, anywhere you get podcasts, video version as well. So Mikey M and I are kind of breaking down. I won't tell you where the Jags are. I think you can figure it out. But some good stuff. We're having fun with it.
Eric Edholm of NFL.com. Eric, you're one of our favorites. Thank you for taking time out. We know you're busy, and we'll talk again soon, my friend.
Looking forward to it. Maybe a few wins between now and then, all right?
He wore 56 and played a key role in their best season ever.
I'm your tape translator, Jeff Loggeman, on Check the Tape Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Napa Auto Care. Tuesdays during football season on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Can you believe they've been cleaning carpets in Jacksonville now for 20 years? Dave Benyon and his family and staff are so grateful of things and appreciate you, their great customers. In fact, October's birthday month for Zero Res. So what are we doing for customers? Just say happy birthday, Zero Res, and we'll give you $50 off. That's $50 off carpet, tile, and grout, upholstery, or area rugs. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com.
Hicken here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Need or want cash? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC.
Rascal Flats. Life is a Highway Tour 2025. Saturday, April 5th, 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena.
The sound of that.
Country music's greatest vocal group, Rascal Flats. Back on the road. With special guests Lauren Elena and Chris Lane. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Rascal Flats Live.
Pace Carline here. If you're like me in the fall, you want to watch football, not clean. Enter Molly Maid, voted Bold City Best Cleaning Service 3 years in a row. Molly Maid is reliable, friendly, and thorough. Visit mollymaid.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Colts, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL radio. The Colts come in on a 2-game winning streak. The Jaguars, well, they're just looking for their first win here in 2024. One of our guys in Indianapolis for a long time has been Derek Schultz of ISC Sportsnet in the Indy area, and Derek's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Derek, how we doing, man?
I'm doing great, Hack. Always great to be back with you on the North Florida airwaves.
Yeah, we always appreciate it. You and I have done this for years whenever the Jaguars and the Colts get together. All right, Indianapolis, weeks 1 and 2, losses. Weeks 3 and 4, wins. What has changed in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think what's changed is that they've started to kind of finally get back on track defensively, particularly against the run. They were awful in week 1 against Houston, and even worse in week 2 in Green Bay, to the tune of almost 450 yards in the first 2 games. And they've really kind of settled that down. They did a great job against Najee Harris and did an okay job containing Justin Fields last Sunday against Pittsburgh, and then found a way to get it done as well against the Chicago Bears and that revamped offense too. So I think that's really been the key to their success is eliminating the run or at least limiting the run and allowing the pass defense and the pass rush to try to pin their ears back and go after the quarterback a little bit. So I think you've seen much more defensively from the Colts. But offensively, they played well against Pittsburgh. Anthony Richardson looked good, albeit a small sample size. We're talking about 4 pass attempts before he left with that hip pointer. But Jonathan Taylor very nearly had his 3rd straight 100-yard game. They finally got an 100-yard game from Michael Pittman Jr., who's been dealing with some injuries. They got Josh Downs back in the lineup, which has helped things from their receiver core situation. And the offensive line, as it's been really for the better part of the last 7 or 8 years, has been the best unit on the entire team. So things looking up. After the 0-2 start, especially the loss to Malik Willis in Green Bay, there were a lot of doomsdayers here, Ryan. But I think folks feel better about the direction of the Colts here heading into Jacksonville. But they are very aware of the Colts' recent history down there in Duval.
Yeah, and you talk about a desperate Jaguar team. That might be an understatement coming up this Sunday. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's talk about Anthony Richardson, Derek. I mean, we'll talk about will he play on Sunday, your opinion. Obviously, it's still early in the week, but even more so than that, leaving another game injured last week in the win over Pittsburgh. I mean, how concerning is that getting for Colts fans?
The good news, it's kind of a good news, bad news thing. The bad news is that I just think this is going to be a constant, particularly with somebody that likes to get out and run. It's just difficult for a quarterback that likes to run to just avoid taking hits all the time. He's going to take hits, and he took a big one in that game against Pittsburgh. But he's taken other big hits and bounced right up earlier this season. The first 3 games, Hack, he didn't leave. He played throughout. So I think that was, we're talking about 3 games, right? But maybe I'm reaching for positives a little bit, but I think that was a positive. For all intents and purposes, he will play on Sunday. We've been given nothing from the Colts brass that suggests that this is anything more than an injury that they felt like because they had a lead and because they had a capable backup in Joe Flacco, they didn't need to press the situation. But I fully expect him to take the first snap of the game down there in Jacksonville. But the injury stuff, it's just going to be a constant with him, as it was throughout his high school and college career. I think the Colts know what they were signing up for here. what you want to do is just try to limit those injuries and limit those occasions where you're even at risk to take an injury as much as you humanly possibly can.
You know, Derek Schultz, ISC Sportsnet, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville, talking Colts and Jags. Of course, Sunday, 1 o'clock. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. It's interesting down here, Derek, the thinking here, and I get it. I almost kind of agree with it to an extent. Boy, Flacco tore the Jaguars up last year in December in Cleveland. The Jaguars are lacking a little bit of a pass rush right now. So I almost think Jaguar fans are okay if Anthony Richardson plays because they fear Joe Flacco that much. I mean, the thinking up there, it's nice to have a backup, but clearly Anthony Richardson's the guy they want in there for the Colts, correct?
Yeah, and look, Joe Flacco's 40. And the Colts just used the top 5 draft pick on Anthony Richardson last year, and they only got 10 quarters out of him. So they need to see what they have here. Going back to last year, if the Colts, let's say hypothetically, were to repeat last year's situation where you have like a Gardner Minshew-like 9-8 season with Joe Flacco, what does that do for the Colts? In 2025, a year from now, they've got the same exact situation on their hands where they've got a big question mark at that spot because obviously Joe Flacco is not the long-term solution here. And I think he entered into a situation where the Colts were about to go up 17-0. About to go up 14-0 anyway. So it was a good situation for him to enter into. And look, Flacco played well, but I do think that, I've always looked at backup quarterbacks kind of like the donut tire on a car, right? Like it can get you by, you can get to the repair station and see the mechanic, but I don't think that Joe Flacco's puts them in a better position to win over the next 13, 14 games than Anthony Richardson. Now, Anthony Richardson might end up being a bust. I don't know. But you still have to let that sort of play out. I think playing Flacco really puts them in a position where they're still leaving those questions open-ended, and I don't think they want to do that.
Similar question to Anthony Richardson. Let's go to Jonathan Taylor. He had an ankle sprain last week. By all accounts, they got good news on that. Will we see Jonathan Taylor on Sunday here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, it looks like it's not serious. Anytime you hear high ankle sprain, you think, oh boy. But it looks like it's a very mild sprain. You hope it's not something that's going to linger, especially, any lower body injuries for a running back are always problematic. But again, we can only go on what the Colts have been saying, and the Colts seem pretty confident that it's not going to be something very serious for Jonathan Taylor. So maybe limited, but expect him to play on Sunday and expect him once again to be the bell cow, because unlike last year where they had Zach Moss, a very capable number 2, they don't have that this year, Hack. They got Trey Sermon back there. They've got some unproven backups at running back. They're not as deep as they've been in recent years. So it's really kind of Taylor and bust when it comes with the running game.
Last 2 injury questions, and the Colts are 2-2 despite all these injuries, which was pretty impressive. Kwity Paye, Kenny Moore missed last week. Again, early in the week, but what's your prognosis for those guys, your hypothesis, if you will?
Wait and see, but I'm not expecting it to get much better for Kwity Paye in time to play for Sunday. But again, that's a wait and see thing. Kenny Moore, I just don't think they know at this point. Also, they just put Tyquan Lewis on injured reserve, so he's out. They've already got DeForest Buckner on injured reserve. They've got 3 defensive linemen on IR already, and luckily that's probably the deepest spot that they were on the roster. I mean, they rostered 10 guys on the defensive line, and it looks like they're going to end up needing all 10. But that's another aspect and another storyline that the Colts are going to have to deal with here. Just the amount of injury. Juju Brents, who was supposed to be their number 1 corner, out for the season as well. And they've thrown Jalen Jones, who's a former 7th-round pick, into that spot in just year number 2. So there are a lot of question marks there. The injuries on defense have opened them up and really kind of tested their depth. So it'll be interesting to see as they get into the season, and hopefully how the Colts kind of read and react to that situation. There are a lot of guys that are being given sort of baptisms by fire, particularly in the defensive secondary.
Final moments, Derek Schultz, ISC Sportsnet up in Indianapolis. All right, Derek, you and I have talked for years. September of 2014, Blake Bortles came in the second half of a game that Indianapolis was destroying Jacksonville down here. And at that point, you didn't think much of it. The Jaguars were awful, the Colts were good, and that was just the reality. We didn't know leaving that stadium in September of 2014 that was the last time the Colts were going to win a football game in Jacksonville, Florida, up until here we are today. I mean, we're talking a decade. One of those games was in London. Every other game has been here. How much of a talking point has that been, or will that be this week? The streak, if you want to call it, Indianapolis's failures down here in Duval County.
It's a huge talking point. And what's so interesting about it, Hack, is that good Colts teams have gone down there and lost. Mediocre Colts teams have gone down there and lost, and bad Colts teams have gone down there and lost. It's just like bad Jags teams have beaten up the Colts down there, mediocre Jags teams have beaten up the Colts down there, and good Jags teams have beaten up the Colts down there. So you never, I mean, you know, the 1-15 team in the season opener in 2020, that was a good Colts team. They won 11 games, lost. 2018, they started 1-5, the Colts did, and went on a crazy run. The one blemish was a 6-0 loss to, I think Cody Kessler started that game, if I'm not mistaken, in 2018. 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back from watching a 6-0 football game. So it's been hard to kind of rationalize why it's gone so poorly for them down in Jacksonville. But there were two streaks that a lot of fans kind of focused on here ending this year. One of them was the Colts are also on an 11-year winless streak in season openers. And that obviously didn't end because they dropped the season opener to Houston this year. They haven't won a season opener since the 2013 season. And the other streak is the one that we're talking about right here, the Jacksonville streak. It feels like a now or never. You've got a wounded, blood in the water, whatever you want to say, a desperate Jacksonville team. If you're going to do it, I think now has to be the time to do it and finally put the streak to bed. But I think they are very aware that this is not being treated here like, oh, it's the winless Jags and they stink and they're the worst team. It's absolutely being taken seriously, not only by fans, but by media and by the players as well, because everybody is well aware of just the house of horrors that building has been for the Colts over the past decade.
And really the house of horrors the Jaguars have had in the first month. I mean, you could argue 3 of their 4 games, they were in it with 60 seconds to go, and the ball just hasn't bounced their way. And I was going to ask you that. Tom Coughlin goes into the Jaguar Pride, which is essentially the Ring of Honor here on Sunday. The Jaguars are wearing throwbacks. The 99 jerseys are coming back, which people have been talking about here for years. Indianapolis has to know that this is, like you said, a desperate Jaguar team here at home on Sunday.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's a road division game. And they always talk about those games counting as twice. You can't cede any more ground to Houston, especially having already dropped a home game to them. So, and then they got to go at Nashville the next week. So this is a huge 2-week stretch for them, Hack, to if they're going to truly contend in the division, which I still think they want to do, they're probably going to have to win both of these games, honestly, just given the current state of both Jacksonville and Tennessee. But they are well aware. They are not, I think, taking this game lightly. I don't know anybody in Indy that is. And if they are, they do so at their own peril.
Colts and the Jaguars, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL Radio. Our guy up in Indianapolis, Derek Schultz, ISC Sportsnet. Derek, thank you as always. When the Jaguars make the return trip to Indy, we'll have you back on. Really appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it always, pal. Great catching up.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
And thank you to Derek Schultz, ISC Sportsnet up in Indianapolis. He's been one of our Colts guys for years here on Hacker After Dark as the Colts come in to Jacksonville on Sunday, a 1 o'clock kick. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL as Jacksonville looking to get their first win of the year. And this is really kind of it, right? I mean, you could argue it's probably over already, but at 0-5, boy, then it would really be over, I think. I mean, at 1-4, if you get a home division win, you get a couple in London, maybe a little glimmer of hope, but you got to beat Indianapolis on Sunday. And if you don't beat Indianapolis on Sunday, then I don't really know what to tell you at that point. But hopefully the Jaguars can find a way to get it done. We certainly spent a lot of time talking about that. We also spent a lot of time on the world of college football. Should be an interesting Saturday coming up with Florida hosting UCF, Florida State Clemson, Georgia Auburn, Miami Cal, just to name a few, and what has the makings for a pretty good Saturday on the college gridiron. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very busy Thursday night here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Derek Schultz, ISC Sportsnet up in Indianapolis, giving us the Colts perspective of this matchup on Sunday. Thank you to Eric Edholm of NFL.com for stopping by, talking Jags, AFC South, and more. My buddy Matt Hayes of the USA Today. You also hear him every day on XL Primetime as we previewed the weekend in college football. And back in hour number 1, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts joins us every week here on Hacker After Dark during the season. And we certainly appreciate Cecil for taking time out for us here on a Thursday evening. Now, tomorrow night, Hacker After Dark will turn into the Friday Night Lights postgame. We will be on with victorious head coaches all over Northeast Florida after Lake City, Columbia, and Bowls go final here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. So we do hope you join us for the Friday Night Lights postgame tomorrow evening. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening for us and really your entire week with us here on Hacker After Dark. As we always tell you, and we cannot possibly tell you enough how much we